Hey guys, for those of you that just clicked over to the unlisted video, this is this shouldn't be too gruesome, but if you are squeamish, you're not going to want to watch this. We're just going to clean it and then throw the meat into the pot. It's a fairly simple process, and once you are done watching this or you're bored with this, just look for the link in the description. It'll take you back to the regular video and you could just find your spot again. If you left straight away, you might even might play right back to that exact same spot. And as far as the kill shot, I'll put that right here. There we go. Woodchuck down. It was a very clean shot. I couldn't be more happy with that. The Atman is so accurate. I love my Krell puncher that you've seen me use on the 30-day survival challenge before if you've been watching my videos, and I feel like that gun is a really nice gun, but for like not even quite twice the price, this Atman is so much more accurate. The way it places rounds one right on top of the other without getting a random flyer. Look at that. Pretty much 3 in a row. Whereas the Krell puncher, I feel like 1 in every 5 misses by 3/4 of an inch, which can be a lot. If you're aiming at a pigeon, you can end up winging one or wounding one, or or even a bigger game at that becomes exponential. At 60 yards, that 3/4 could be 1.5 inches if you get a flyer, and then you completely miss or you wound what you're going for. And this was about 20 yards from the window, maybe even less, and just tink, and as you saw in the video here, just dropped him, and that was it. Lights out, and now we're on to processing. If you've never processed an animal before, it's really easy. Just keep watching, I'll show you how to do it. It's a little scary the first time you do it, and if you've already taken the game yourself, it's a little nerve-wracking with the first time you do it too. Your heart is kind of racing. You know, you feel a little awkward, maybe even a little bit maybe even a little sick and stuff. And you kind of grow out of that as time goes on. It's not a big deal. I mean, that's not fair to say. It's a big deal all the time whenever you take some game. And I always thank the Lord for it, that He provided us with so much wonderful wildlife. If we manage it properly, we can enjoy it and enjoy eating it. So I just take something small like this. Oh, you guys can get up. You can come over now. It's not a squirrel, you goof. It's a woodchuck. It's not a chipmunk.
Can I see it? Wait, you're taking off the tail?
So, most of the time with a rabbit, I will tie it up by its legs first, but this has like no ankles or anything to tie it off with. So I'm actually taking off a little bit of the fur and peeling it down.
Ew, whoa, whoa, whoa.
So I get somewhere to tie this off around the ankle here. And then we can really get to work in it. Man, this thing is heavy. For a little guy, it is so heavy. Yes, hon. Not now. After we're done, we'll go for a swim. Okay. But right now, it's time to stay over here. There we go. Alright, you guys can go play in the hose. You don't want to see this?
I don't want to see all the guts.
You love to see all the guts and stuff. When I'm done cutting it open. Alright. Well, guess it's just me and you. Here we go. Trussed up securely, and now it's just a process of removing the hide, gutting it, and I'm over talking it. Let's just do it. I always want to have a nice sharp knife cut in towards the groin. This is one fatty critter. Those on alone would be so psyched. If I was out on alone, I would be so psyched for this right now. I might even, you know what, if I was out there, I would totally eat every last inch of it. We'll be eating it now. Get it. This has so much fat on it. This is just gonna cook up so good. Now, if I was out surviving, I wouldn't be doing this. I would have burnt the hair, burnt and scraped the hair, and then cook it and stew it and eat the whole thing. Eating the hide with the fat all still attached to it, extremely gross. Has a very weird feel, not a very pleasant, but if you go and skin it, and then I just think, I've never tried it that way. I don't think you can, I don't think you could do it. You won't be able to stomach it if you try to eat the hide again after the fact, like boiling it and it'll be eating leather. But if you go and cook it and stew it until it's soft, so it's a piece of skin toasted over the fire to get the hair off, and then stewed, the whole thing would just melt in your mouth and you get all those fats. Sometimes of the year you don't even have to really do anything, it just all comes right off. The hide, you'll just rabbits, stuff like that, you can, maybe even this guy here, just pull down. It's just solid enough, it doesn't want to pull free. Now this is where it gets scary for most people, is having to deal with the butthole in this whole area. Right here, the pelvis, you just take your knife and get that in there, right in the center, a small game like this, and you can just split that. And just try to split it and tuck to the side, one way or the other, and that gives you, now it's open, and you got the poop chute right there, all in it. Now on the back side here is the tail. I just keep wiggling my knife gently through there until I get that through one of the joints in the tail. And now I have the poop chute and the urinary tract right there. Just cut around a little bit so it can pull down and out of the body. Something bigger, you might want to have like a little bread tie and stuff, so you don't spill poop everywhere. These guys are pretty clean poopers, so once I clean the track out by just moving my fingers back this way and that way, the tube is fairly empty. I don't have to worry about getting sprayed by anything and it spraying out anything all over my game. It's going to be stewed to perfection. So now it's free, no tail, hides down, and the hide is fairly covered in fat. It's quite, just keep working the hide down and then we will remove the rest of the organs. Now you can be far more careful than this to preserve your hide and to preserve as much fat as possible if you're trying to survive. But we got a nice size, beautiful brown fox out back here, and raccoons and all kinds of stuff that lives out here in the woods. So I'm gonna let them have all of this delicious fat. It's almost hard to do this guy because he's so fatty. I can't tell where the hide ends and he starts, and where the muscles are. Holy cow, just little cuts with your knife to loosen the hide from the body, and then pulling. Make sure you don't stab yourself. Cuts. Find where it bends. There we go. I suppose be a little careful when you're cutting these, because like you can be like, and then get right through it like that. How cool is that? The pellet's all mushroomed. It went through the head, and it was trapped in the hide on the back side of the head. I shot it right through the temple, and it came out right through the back of the skull and was sitting there against the hide right here. So now that I got to the head, I just gonna do the same thing as I did with the paws, cut in and let the knife gently find that joint between the skull and the spinal cord, and you should be able to cut it right off without cutting through bone or anything like that. If we were in surviving, we'd be using all that, but we would have cooked that with the hide, I think, so you get as much out of this as you can. But right now we're feeding the wildlife, so that will go over here for the wild animals. And now we gotta do the gross part. This is what maybe the next part that scares people the most. Gently, without cutting open the guts, cut down with your knife. Nice sharp knife makes this so much easier. Tons of fat and tons of stuff in here as well. You got your, oh my goodness, look at that fat. Look at all that fat. That is all the fat that insulates this little guy's organs and helps them. That's what they need right there. That is their survival ration. Just like I got one right now lately. These guys have a survival ration that this is what he will live off all winter as his body, as he hibernates, and the nuts and stuff that he does store, little seeds and things, and this. His body will break this down and provide energy. Simply just, once you've done it, you just be pulling out your organs. And I'm going to leave some fat on it. I'm not going to go crazy pulling it all off and leave it for the wildlife, but I don't want my stew to be overly greasy either, so it's like ruined. So put that for the wildlife. And then you get down to the liver. And as you can see on this one, this is how you can tell if your animal is any good as far as eating organ wise. See how clean that liver is? No spots, no blotching. And you got a gallbladder right there. You cut that off gently. Cut around it. You don't want that in your meal. We will be adding the liver. A good sharp knife is where this really excels. So you can just get your knife on there and pare that away and throw that away. You don't want that to ruin your meal. Including that in your meal will change the flavor of it. So if you're not into liver, or somebody in your family and you're trying to show them how awesome it is to eat wild game, we'll put it in the pot for now. Save that and finish cleaning out the animal. Our woodchuck eat as well. Nice. That will taste just like beef. So once you cut through the diaphragm, you just reach down and run your knife along the spine to get the esophagus and stuff like that. And then once it, couple little nicks with a knife, you should pull all the guts free. And there's also kidneys in there. All kinds of fat. And in a really dire situation, you could rinse these out. There's not much in this. Like a bigger, like something like a cow, there could be a lot more in the organs and stuff. I could feel just like full of seeds. It's just blackberries. Just been living off my blackberry bush. It's just full of, that's got to be blackberries. Yeah. That's all of it. Not too much bigger than a rabbit, but it tastes a lot more like beef than a rabbit does. Alright, well that's it. There is not a lot there. Raccoons actually have a lot more on them than this, but the level of fat on this one right now, August, is super fatty. Put them in the pot. I'll get some adobo. Throw some vegetables in there after it's already stewed and softened up for a little bit. We'll get the fire going. Yeah, and hit that link in the description. Take yourself back to the video if you left partway through right after I said check out the unlisted link. And thanks for watching.